Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and we're coming off maybe the best night in Coast to Coast history. I mean, off of volume at least as well. If you take that into consideration, we had 9 total picks. We had best bets with 6 picks, 3 in the play of props. We had 4, but Benjamin Simmons ended up not playing in that game. That makes a total of 9-0, 9.9 units. It is November 9th, Nate. Didn't even put that together. There's something in the stars here for sure because we had a great night last night. Hope you were riding along with us. It was a super big slate on Wednesday, which means, of course, we now only have 2 games to choose from on Thursday night here before another big slate on Friday. So we'll get to some best bets in this video for you. Got some play of props as well. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm kind of chickening out and taking a play of prop in this video as well for best bets with such a small slate. But continue to follow along. Check out each of these videos each and every weekday with us by subscribing to that page here on YouTube. Also, head to thelines.com. Check out the great written content we're putting up on the site as sports are in full effect. And we have the odds finder tool up there you can use to make sure that you are getting the best juice available to you from all these books giving us bets this season. Nate, let's stay on that heater, kid, and get into our first best bet here.
Yeah, it's a small slate, but we definitely are excited for this first game. Milwaukee at Indy, both teams on a back-to-back, and I like the over in the first half. It is 118, maybe 118.5, depending on your book. Already hit that full unit, please, maybe even more if you feel confident. So the Pacers' style of play is gonna lead to a lot of points here. I mean, they're obviously first in scoring, second in pace, average a league high 64 in the first half and 66 when they're at home. And then we have the Bucks with Giannis coming off an ejection, only got to play 28 minutes, I believe, against Detroit. He should come out fired up. The refs should give him a little bit of a lenient whistle after he was ejected for dunking and then briefly flexing. Got his second technical there. And the Bucks D has just struggled throughout the first half of games, throughout the first 3 quarters, you could say, before they kind of claw back, if they will. They're 26th in defensive rating. They're 6th in pace. So it should be a fun up and down first half. I think we can get to 118. The Bucks are giving up the second most fast break points. Indy gets out and runs. They're giving up the 10th most assists, 8th most threes. This Pacers spread offense, if you will, is it's unbelievable. And I'm not really interested in any player props. Maybe Halliburton assists because it is a total spread attack. They have 9 guys averaging at least 8.5. They have 7 guys averaging double figures. It leads to just an offense you cannot really game plan for. They dropped 70 in the first half against Cleveland, a really good defense, 86 in the first half against the Spurs earlier this week. I don't know if that is the highest first half total we have seen in a long time here. This is their 5th straight game at home, so feeling quite comfortable. And, their defense, though, leaves something to be desired. They do give up the most 2s made and 2s attempted and the 3rd most free throws, just like last year, where that's the Bucks, again, plays into what I'm saying with Giannis, going to be aggressive. The refs might give him a few more calls. The league probably did not like that second technical, not aware of the situation. Was that official? But Giannis has eaten against this Pacers team that has struggled to guard the power forward position. Not really that surprising. He's averaged 38.5 points per game on 39% usage against them. And their last 5 meetings have averaged 263 points per game. They've all gone over. They've been played at a 104 pace. So I think it's a great game state to just try to capitalize on the first half. Because I don't. The Bucks and the Pacers kind of different modes in the fourth quarter. But let's just target that first half over.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed with not really having the desire to bet on the final outcome of this game. The Bucks were incredible on no rest last season, by the way, best record against the spread in the league. The Bucks also had the 4th best rating in the league last year, and they currently have the 25th best defensive rating. I should be specific, and they have the 25th best defensive rating in the league this year, which should be phrased as the 5th worst. So I have no desire to bet on this team stop this team from scoring, especially. I don't know who you'd be worried about having tired legs on a team where everybody can barely buy alcohol legally at this point. Some of them might not even be able to. I don't think you worry about them playing back to back. This is like when you were in college and you just played at the rec for 7 hours stars for 3 days in a row. So there's going to still be points, I believe. I don't think there's any sort of rest issues that would cause this game to not be played in the similar style. I would just rather attack the first half, to the point that you're making across the board here, because of what I'm saying about the defense, man, and the fast break stuff too. Like, if you don't get back against this team, you are toast. And if you don't get back after a made basket, you're toast as well. So I don't like the idea of Dame being the main defender as well on Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously, he'll probably be guarding other guys as well, but there's going to be mismatches all over the floor if Dame's going to really be a liability on defense with the height advantage that this team will have, and even when you get guys like Bruce Brown on the floor. So I'm going first half as well, Nate. I mean, I'm piggybacking off what you said, and in agreement with you about the first half. So let's just take the Pacers first half money line and just assume that they're going to come out hot. Now, the thing is I also like the over because of Yanni Boo-Boo, of Giannis coming in and being fresh essentially in this game and not really having played much yesterday. So and also just being pissed. As we know, he'll probably be coming in, he'll dunk on people and then probably just run back on defense, head down, as sort of like a, I don't know what you guys want from me, so I'll just be super good, and almost like tongue in cheek. I expect him to have a lot of that going on, where he's dunking on guys. But at the same time, like, I do agree that they're not going to be able to stop this team in transition. I also don't know that they're necessarily even going to be able to stop this team when they get into the paint with certain guys. Like, if Halliburton's slicing into the paint, there's going to be mismatches all around there. Maybe Barolo can handle that, but between he and Yanni, it's going to be a lot of roaming around and trying to get, like you said, sort of like covering the 5 wide receivers that are going to be spread out for the Pacers, to use a sort of football analogy. So I don't have much to add in that first bet there for this game, other than like targeting the Pacers to do well early, not necessarily knowing how Giannis and Dame are going to do in the fourth. Usually they're clawing back and coming back to win in the end of the game. That's how things have gone for them. Even when they held their lead against Detroit last night, they still sort of needed to have a little bit of a comeback in the fourth quarter to make sure they handled that game. But yeah, let's move on to your second pick there.
A little bit of a comeback. They had to hold Detroit scoreless for like 4 minutes and score like 12 straight points to beat Detroit, to beat Marcus Sasser and Cade Cunningham. Fading the Bucks in one way or another is still profitable early in the season. They obviously did not cover. I don't think they've covered at any point except for the shorthanded Heat. And yeah, just looking up the Pacers, they went 10-4 to the over on no rest last season. They also were 60% cover rate with a rest advantage or in division games. So this situation, if you think their youth equals a rest advantage, does definitely lend to what we're talking about, which is them to play well in the first half, even if they struggle in clutch games. So let's look at the other game here. Hawks at Magic, and you can play this two ways and get the same odds. Hawks money line with Trey to score 20, DeJounte to score 15. Or I actually think I like this more, is just Trey and DeJounte to both score 20, and you don't have to pick a winner, and you get plus 140 either way. The Hawks are minus 3.5. They are favored, but Magic, a little bit of a tough team to predict with the results. But my reasoning for these guys getting theirs is in their last 5 games here, Quinn Snyder has clearly unlocked something in terms of this 2-guard attack. And DeJounte has suddenly gone off 26 points per game on a 129 rating, 26% usage. Trey's still getting his 22 points per game on higher usage, 28%. And Trey's had a lot of success against this Orlando team, which is frankly just too big to deal with quick guards, right? I mean, you have Jalen Suggs, and then you don't really have another good perimeter defender. You have oversized guards like Franz Wagner, who's really going to struggle to keep either of these guys out of the paint off the bounce. And Magic probably going to be without Gary Harris, Markelle Fultz, and Wendell Carter, and definitely without Wendell Carter for weeks here. So they have their last games. They had to start Goga Bitadze, who is, as we say, not horizontally inclined, and the rookie Anthony Black led to them giving up 50 to Kairuka, including 64 in the second half collapse there. Cole Anthony was a minus 14 off the bench. He struggled on defense at times last season. It's more about Atlanta, and when you can find a situation where you just absolutely rely on 2 scorers. They do have Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter chipping in at times, but clearly the offense rotates through these 2 guys who have both had a lot of success against Orlando. DeJounte in 3 since joining the Hawks, 21 points per game, high usage. Trey has gone off against this team, which is, fits into what I'm saying with he's just too quick for them. 28 points, 14 assists on a 33% usage rate. These games, even though the Magic are a tough matchup and they tend to go under, the last 3 times they've gotten together, there have been a lot of points in this game. I mean, one of those, some of those skewed because Atlanta just didn't even show up, gave up 50 in the first quarter, and then it was not a contest from there. But Atlanta's playing really well right now. Whether you want to play slow or fast, they dropped 123 at NOLA, 127 at Mini. Those games both played with a 95 and 91 pace. And then they dropped 130 at a 110 pace against Washington. So how do you want to play it, Orlando? If you're going to slow it down, they can still get you in the half court. These two guards should be putting up 20-plus points.
No qualms from me, for sure. I'm going to be attacking some Trey props here as well. I would add that, part of the reason I think that the Hawks have success against this team is, tonight, part of the reason, what I was trying to say here, I was looking at the wrong notes. What I'm trying to say is I don't think Markelle Fultz might even play tonight, and Gary Harris definitely isn't playing tonight. And I think Gary Harris was your best option. I know he was to stay in front of Trae Young as much as possible, and then maybe you have a more a better sized guard like Markelle Fultz if he was in. Try to handle DeJounte, and I just don't think without those guys in there, you're in big trouble for sure. Cole Anthony is going to come in and be guarding these guys, and that is going to be a problem for sure. Undersized Cole Anthony, who has the worst defensive rating on their team. I'll talk about that when I do attack those Trey props in the Play a Props video, but as I said, I am wussing out and taking a prop here because I just feel so much more comfortable with it than I do trying to predict a winner in honestly either of these games. But Clint Capella over 19.5 points and rebounds combined in this one. It's minus 105 on BetMGM, which is way better juice than you'll get on DraftKings or a couple other books. He's gone over this in both of the road games that he played against this team last season. It didn't go over at home, but overall, we're talking an average of 27.5 points and rebounds in those two that he went over. Overall, in the 3 games, still well over 23 points and rebounds combined on average last season against this team. And I think the reasoning is partly due to what we were talking about a second ago and what you were mentioning with Trey and even DeJounte's ability to get by the guards on the Magic. Once they get in the paint, it's Lob City over to Clint Capella, which we know is still a large focal point of the offense when Trey has the ball in his hands. He's gone over this number Capella has in 5 of 7 this season. I think he was even a part of some trade rumors at one point, at early in the preseason and in the offseason. But right now, he is playing it in a way that does fit for Quinn Snyder's offense a lot in essentially the Rudy Gobert role. Heretofore Goody Robert. But Orlando is allowing 26 combined points and rebounds to the opposing starting center alone. They're averaging allowing 35 overall to centers on the other team. But like I said, the 26 combined to starters specifically is a really nice number to help you with Clint getting over. Their best, Goga Batadze notwithstanding, the Magic's best interior defender in Wendell Carter Jr., is not going to be playing. Like you mentioned, he's out for a couple of weeks, which sucks. I love Wendell Carter Jr.'s game so much, but he has an individual defensive rating of 101.6 that will no longer be on the floor as a nice shot blocker at around 6'10", who's super athletic and can at least move his feet very well enough to stay in front of Clint Capella, and he's not going to be there for them. So,
yeah, the concern, which I brought up every time you go to Capella since last season, is that he is a part-time player. Okongwu is playing half the game. You never really know when they're going to go with which guy based on the matchup. Capella still, I am encouraged by the fact he went 13-13 against the Knicks, which is a similar big pack-it-in team, and that maybe Snyder likes him more in that type of matchup. Okongwu had a better game against the Pelicans, maybe a better game against the Wolves. It's just kind of a toss-up in terms of which guy is going to get more. So I think if you get a lower prop for Okongwu, I'd be just fine going with that one. They seem to be interchangeable.
I hear what you're saying. The reason he's still gone over in 5 of 7. He even when he's only gotten 22 minutes, he's gone over this number because he really truly has one job, which is just rim run, essentially defend one and be at above the other. So I'm still going to be in a good spot with it, like you said, with a packet in defense. I think he still has a solid matchup advantage, especially without Wendell Carter Jr. in there. So we'll see how we do on these in a little 2-game slate here. We're being a little bit cautious as well. If you notice some of the unit sizes here, not exactly just like throwing down all the money we made last night. So we'll talk more about the player props in our other videos. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Until we see you next, happy betting.